Hey, so it's been a really long time. My life has been crazy. I know, and you're probably tired of hearing that, my YouTube friends, because I'm always like, oh, my life's been crazy. But I swear, it's always crazy, okay? I always have a lot going on. So sometimes I forget to update YouTube because I post so much on Instagram that sometimes YouTube kind of falls through the cracks because it a little more effort goes into YouTube. I gotta get my thoughts together. Whereas Instagram is 30 seconds to a minute that I'm just spitting something out real quick and then going on, So anyway, try to organize my thoughts. And then there is partly a reason why I waited so long to film this about my new van. And you're gonna find out why in this video. So let's get started because this is gonna be a really long story. Okay, so I think the last time that we really talked, I was selling my last van and getting this new one. So that all happened. I drove up to Indiana and picked up the new van and everything, brought it back down. It was fine driving it for the 10.5 hours, just for anybody that doesn't live close to Indiana like I am, 10.5 hours. The reason I went, because they do transport it, so you can choose to do that, but the reason I went up there is I'd never owned a Wagon Tails before, so I really wanted to have a thorough introduction for them to show me everything. I was okay, so show me when I walk into the van in the morning, what do I do first? And same thing for end of the day, when I'm finishing up, what do I do? How do I turn it on? How do I use everything, right? So that's why I went up there. But whenever I go to trade this van in and get my next van, I will, which is going to be down the road, by the way. But, just thinking about it, I will just have them transport it. So anyway, that we started there. I brought it home. I got it all set up and everything. And then the first client that I had, that I went to go bring the van to, I pulled up at their stop because they tell you to turn everything on at the beginning of the day. So I turned everything on, turned the lights on, everything. Get to my first stop, the battery shut off in the back. And honestly, I wouldn't even bring that up, but that really correlates into what ended up happening at where we're at now. Okay, so first stop is shut off. I didn't have my AC running. Everything was off in the back. So started with that. I thought maybe it's a fluke thing. I'm still learning this van. It's so different from the Humvee. The Wagon Tails is so different. And all in all, I do like the Wagon Tails better. But there's reasons for that. We'll get into it. Okay. So like I said, I get to the stop and everything turned right back on. I went in the back. There's a reset button on the battery. I hit that. Everything came back on. It worked fine. Now, I would say probably the first week, I started having issues with it getting really hot with the windows. It gets so hot back there. That's one thing that I think Wagon Tails should consider changing, unless there's people that really, really like the windows. I don't really get it because I don't like the windows. Not only because it makes it really hot, but they're not tinted enough. I feel people walking by could still see you, and also your dogs can see out. Even if it was a really dark tint, the dogs can see out, and they're so easily distracted, So I'm not a huge fan of the windows. Sorry, there's a hair hanging in my eye. You guys can't see it, but I can. It's distracting me. So anyway, I'm not a huge fan of the windows, and it was getting insanely hot. There was this dog I was grooming, ended up getting up to I think in the 90-degree range with the windows and everything. So I called them because I was kind of panicking about it. I was it's getting way too hot back here. And this is I picked it up in May, so this would have still been in May. So it was not as hot as it is right now when this was happening. So I called them and they sent me those window cover things. Now, I want to just go ahead and address this now. I never expect any sort of special treatment from companies. In fact, I would prefer they didn't. Even with, sorry, not anything to do with what I'm talking about. My friend just texted me about something. Anyway, she made me forget what I was saying. Hold on. It'll come back to me. Special treatment. I do not ask for special treatment. I prefer not to get special treatment. I work with GSH. They're the only company besides Hydra that sends me PR sometimes that I actually like work with. I do have a code with GSH, but I don't make money off of that. And Hydra, like, I don't make anything if you buy from Hydra. They just send me some free shit to try out. And if I like it, I post about it. But regardless, so they sent me those window covers for free. Now, after that happened, I saw them on their website and they're like $400 for the Mercedes window covers. And I don't know if they're just selling them or if everybody that's getting the clean power system is automatically getting them or how that works. I also don't know about like if you can just request to not get windows. I would ask about that because I almost wonder if it might not be a little cheaper too because they don't have to like cut into the van. Sorry, I should have like turned my phone on do not disturb because I swear I don't text that many people, but you know how that goes. You start doing something, everybody texts you, and like I keep seeing their messages pop up. Anyway. So I'm saying that now because that comes in later too. That like I think there may be some special privileges that I have been getting that other people have not. And I just feel like I should say something about that because like I really don't ask for any of this. Like, I'm fine with paying for things. Like, I'm fine. Like, I don't want special treatment. Like, in fact, it sucks because, like, I hate when I'm, like, telling you guys, like, this is how the company is treating me. And then, like, I find out from people that that's not how they're being treated. That, like, I feel like it makes me look really bad. Like, I'm just, like, promoting them because I get something from it. I haven't gotten anything from Wagon Tails besides those like window covers, and they've been apparently helping me a lot more with my van than like other people is what I'm hearing. Okay. Anyway, so that was the first thing. They sent me the window covers and I put them up and it did help a lot with the AC. Now the AC I will say is not as strong as the Humvee van, but there's some give or take there because it's not as strong. But the Humvee, the reason you have to idle in the Humvee is because of the AC unit. So that was causing thousands of dollars in repairs on my Mercedes. So, you know, there is give or take there. And that's like the biggest difference to me is like all the issues I've had with Wagon Tails, I have not spent a dime on anything. Okay. And other than like now I'm down in my van, which if you follow me on Instagram, you already know that, but, and we're going to get there why I'm down and everything. So, but I haven't spent any money and, you know, being out of work, I'll get my clients rescheduled. Most people have been very understanding, so it's okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay. So anyway, that's the major difference to me is like Humvee is like you're spending so much money on the Mercedes because the conversion is messing up things in the Mercedes Sprinter. Okay. So, started there. And then I started having issues with my AC leaking, which if you're in like the Facebook groups or know anybody with a clean power system, this is like a common problem. Wagon Tails is aware of it and apparently it's something that they are working on. Mine right now, just spoiler alert, my van is in Indiana right now, getting a new AC. They're putting in a new battery pack, a new alternator, and I don't even know what else. But the AC unit is something that I'm getting that's new. So, my AC started like pouring water. So the battery thing I talked about earlier, like how it just like shut off, that started becoming a very regular thing that it would just like shut off. Like it started out that it would shut off while like whenever I'd stop the van, because you know you don't idle in the Wagon Tail, so I'd get to the stop, turn the Sprinter off, and everything in the back would shut off too, and I'd get out, reset it, everything was working. Started just like that, but then it progressed into like I would be in the back grooming a dog and it would just shut off. I'd have to get out because like there's no way, and this is one thing I told Wagon Tails, that I would prefer if there was a way inside the salon area that I could reset that battery pack if this is going to be an ongoing issue. If I could reset that battery pack without getting out of the van, that would be so much better. Because the thing is like, okay, let's say you have a dog in the tub you can't reset that battery without opening the slider door. And the slider door in the new Mercedes is automatic. So you've got your door opening all the way. Like, it's just so dangerous. And then to have to, like, leave the dog while you go and get all that addressed is, like I said, dangerous. It's frustrating. It adds extra time. I'm in the South. People like to sit on their porch. So it's very embarrassing to, like, be, like, popping out, like, hello. Sorry, I have no power. So I'm just gonna, go back here and press this button. I'll go groom your dog again, my bad. It's very embarrassing. And like I said, the safety aspect as well of, like, having to leave the dog while you get out of the van is just so dangerous on so many levels. So that's one thing I told them. I was like, if you guys can make a way to reset that battery from the salon area, I think that would make a major difference. So anyway, started doing that, but then when it would shut off like that, my AC would start, like, pouring water. Like, I'm talking, like, there was times I came in the back and, like, the entire floor was flooded from the AC. I mean, it would just pour out. It was crazy. And so I called Wagon Tails. I was like, dude, my AC is, like, pouring water. Because, like, at this point, I didn't really realize, like, how big of an issue that the battery resetting the way it was. It hadn't gotten that bad yet. It started with, like, the AC. So they were like, okay, call out a local RV guy and he can come out and figure out what's going on with the AC. So he came out and he looked at it. He had to get on top of the van and he looked at it and basically just said that he needed to, like, seal everything better. So he put, like, a ton of caulk down and, like, sealed it. And he said that down the road, like, we may have needed to make, like, a bigger area for it to drain outside of the van, because it drains out in the front and in the back. That's what it's supposed to do. But it was, like, basically overflowing with condensation or whatever and then pouring back into the van. So he sealed it really well the first time. And then he said, he was like, I may have to do more. So just let me know. And I worked, like, the next day and it was the same way. Like, it really didn't make much of a difference. So he came back and sealed it again. And, from there, that's when the battery, I started really noticing that, like, because before he came to seal it the first time, it would start by the end of the day just, like, dripping, like, while I was working. Whereas, like, after he sealed it both times, it didn't do that, like, while I was working. Like, it didn't just do a singular drip. It started only overflowing when that battery would shut off. I don't understand enough about the mechanics to tell you why when that battery shuts off, it makes it, like, flood, but that's what I was witnessing, is that the battery would shut off and the AC would just pour. So we went on like that, and then I started telling him, I was like, this battery resetting is getting so out of hand. Like, I was like, I'm having to get out, like, and then too, when the battery resets, because the AC goes off and you're opening the slider door, it makes it hotter in there, and that AC is just, like, so temperamental, finicky, fragile. I don't know exactly the right verbiage, but, like, it's so hard for it to get that cool again, especially, like, once you've let the heat in and it shut off for a minute and everything. So I was like, it's getting hotter back here. It's making my AC pour water all over my table. So, like, let's say I was, like, doing a bath or if I was doing a haircut and it floods my table, now my table is soaking wet and I have my paw mat, so it's just, like, covered in water, and I have to put a clean, dry dog back on this wet table and, like, re-dry them basically because they're getting wet from picking the shit up. So I'm like, this is, like, getting really inconvenient. So they called me with their engineer first. I probably should have, like, recorded this as it was going on, but honestly, it was so much to handle, like, just because when I got the new van, I took on new clients. So I've been, like, very, very busy with just, like, my day-to-day, and then, like, well, I've been having personal life things going on. Not bad things, but, like, I've been, like, out, like, dating again, like, experiencing new people, trying to, like, live like a normal 30-year-old, and then to, like, have that going on, have my love life going on, and, like, all these different things at once. Like, it was just a lot to try to be like, okay, I'm gonna, like, make a YouTube video too, and I need to remember to record this and record that and whatever, so anyway, I may have the timeline off a little bit because this has been going on since May and it's September. So, like I said, the first time they called, they had me adjust the solar panels on the top. And so they give you this laptop whenever you get the van that you can hook up into the battery, and then it shows them. Now, and I wanted to say too, because I thought when they said like, oh, it shows us like what's going on with your battery, I thought like when you connect to this laptop that you're connecting to Wagon Tails as well, but that's not the case. So you actually connect to this laptop, and then it'll bring the screen up for you with all these different numbers and what. None of it makes any sense to me. I'm like, this isn't dog grooming. This is way above my head, and I don't understand like what. I don't even like volts, amps, whatever. Electricity is not my thing. So but it shows you these different levels and whatever. And then you have to take a picture of it and then send it to Wagon Tails. And then they can figure it out from there. So because I was under the understanding that like they were just gonna like see the same screen that you're seeing, you know, and that's not how it is. You have to like send it to them. So anyway, I met with them. They tried to get me to mess with the solar panel thing, and I did that, and then went out to a client, and literally nothing was different. Not even slightly different. It was like exactly the same. So I was like, no, that didn't work. So then they set up another meeting with me, and they wanted me to meet with the guy that I think he created the batteries or something like that. So they wanted me to meet with him. So, okay, to be honest with you, we're just gonna put it all out there, okay? The first time that I was supposed to meet with them, it was on my day off, and I finally like had to like get mad at them over this. Like I really tried to like be patient along the way, because I'm like, you know, I understand that some of this is growing pains, that this is still a really new system, and you know, I don't know how many they've sold, but I would say like probably within the first like 100, 200 vans that they've sold of this. So I get that with it being new, that like this is the stuff you're going to encounter while they're like ironing out the kinks, and it'll get better down the road. And, you know, I'm understanding of that, you know, but this really pissed me off that it was on my day off. I had other shit going on. I don't remember what, but it was like something in my personal life, you know, and, they were like, yeah, we'll meet. We're going to have a Zoom meeting at like 10 o'clock. Okay, so I like woke up, I showered, I'm getting ready, like rushed outside, had like not even really finished my hair yet, like rushed through my makeup and everything so that I could get outside in time for this meeting. Sat there for 30 minutes and never got a call. And then I texted them, and I was like, are you like, am I wrong on the date? Because I had gone back and like looked at my messages and was like, you guys said this day at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, here I am. Are you guys coming? And then they texted me back and they were like, oh, can you do 2 o'clock? I was like, no, I can't do 2 o'clock. I was like, what do you think? I'm just sitting here all fucking day? Well, like, no, I have a life. I want to go out. I'm 30 years old. I want to go out and do 30-year-old things and see cute boys and stuff. You over here, can you do 2 o'clock? Like, I didn't already waste my morning on you. Now you want to hit me smack dab in the afternoon? I got shit to do. No. So that did piss me off, because I'm like, that, you should have let me know. Like, I would have said no to 2 o'clock regardless, but like, at least let a bitch know I sat out there for 30 minutes waiting on you in the hot ass sun, waiting for you. Anyway, so then we had to reschedule, and things started getting like, they were starting to get really bad. Like my AC, because like when it was flooding, I think what was happening was it was flooding into the electric as well. So, I started having AC issues. Like it just like shutting off and not wanting to come back on, or if it would come on, it was like surging, and it was just a nightmare. So they had me meet with the battery guy. And the battery guy was nice. He was making me laugh though. Like every time that he like said my name, he'd call me like a completely different name. And it was so funny. Like, as he said by like the end of it, he was like, Melissa, can you do da-da-da? And I'm like, and Wagon Tails is like, her name's Janine. I was like, oh my, it's like, I didn't even know you were talking to me. I was like, who's Melissa? Because like Wagon Tails had their team sitting there. I thought Melissa was on their end. I didn't know I was Melissa. So, but he was like, I'm so sorry. You can tell I'm not like used to working with customers and whatever. He was funny. There's like one guy up there though, just being honest, that like me and him, like, I don't know. He like is one of those people that I feel like he's very smart. Like, for sure. But, like, he kind of, like, talks down. You know what it is? I'll tell you. he has a tendency when you're trying to explain something, like you'll be mid-explanation and then he starts talking over you because he's already assumed what he thinks you're going to say by the end of the conversation. I wasted so much time on the phone with him one day that I was trying to explain what was going on, and then he's giving me explanations for what he thinks I was going to say, and then I would have to be like, no, what I was trying to say is da-da-da. Like, I had to stop myself multiple times with him from being like, can you stop talking for 2 seconds and let me finish, and then maybe we can fix this quicker, rather than us talking over each other and not really listening to each other, you know? Like, you ask me a question, and then before I can even get the answer out of my mouth, you like are answering what you thought I was going to say rather than actually listening to what I was going to say. Because like for example, there was like one point that he just assumed that the only time that the back was shutting off, the battery was shutting off, was when I was turning the printer off, and he's giving me a whole explanation on like why that is, and da-da-da-da, and you gotta do this and that and whatever. And then I was like, but what about like whenever I'm just like working and it shuts off? He's like, oh, it's shutting off then too? I would have told you that, but you know, you knew better. So anyway, but the main person that I've been dealing with is Rory, and he's been super nice and super helpful. I don't have a problem with Rory. I actually don't even know the other guy's name. And I think he's very smart. He just could work on his listening skills, because like I get a little like, I've just stopped myself. Like, I used to be like the most like timid, non-confrontational person ever, and now I'm like very quick to like start with people if they make me mad. So like there was like one day I started like being like a little like like not super nice back, and anyway, so it's nice having Rory there as like a middleman, because I'm like, this guy is kind of pissing me off. And you know what, ironically, my RV guy, he's been coming out. I've like become very good friends with him now. His name's David, and he came out one time and kind of had this similar experience, because I honestly, like, I took it kind of personally. I was like, maybe it's because I'm a woman that he's talking to me that way, but apparently that's just like how he is. And anyway, it is what it is. But so anyway, we tried to work it out a few times. They had me do stuff, and then they wanted David, the RV guy, to come out a few times, and then they did some stuff. And there was like a few days that they did stuff and it didn't make a difference. And then there was one day that for whatever reason they did not want me to be home. Like, not that they didn't want me to be home. Oh, I know what it was. I had like complained. I was like, you guys, every Monday, it had turned into every Monday they were like, well, we're gonna do this, and it was like becoming like every time I was off, I had to work, or I had to be outside, I had to be doing van stuff, and I was like, god damn, like, this is my day off. And it was like after like 4 weeks in a row of that, I was like, can we just get this fixed? Because I'm tired of like every week having to like use my off day to like sit out in the hot ass sun and do the same shit that has not made any difference at all. Like, can we just figure this out or something? So anyway, I think that's why they were just like, okay, like, we're gonna do it on a day. You go out and like do your thing. You don't need to be home, whatever. And that ended up being super inconvenient. Like, I think it was easier when I was just here, because at least I knew what was going on. So first, I'm like, I made a tattoo appointment that day. And, well, first I was at the nail salon, and then I went to a tattoo appointment, and, like, literally, David is calling me, like, every couple of minutes, like, hey, like, where's this? I can't find that, like, da-da-da-da, can, you know, and I'm like, and it wasn't his fault, like, it was stuff like, where's the laptop cord, and, like, stuff like that, like, stuff that, like, I would only know, and the only way that he'd be able to find it is digging through all of my drawers and trying every cord I have in the van, which there are a lot, because I've got cords for, like, everything. So it was, like, it made more sense for me to be there, but then they had him, like, rewire all of this stuff, and they didn't explain to me like what was gonna be different. They just like did a bunch of stuff, and then they were like, you're good to go. Okay, and then when I came out in the morning, I can't remember, there was something that they wanted me to do, and I did that. So I'm like texting back and forth with Rory. It seemed good. He was like, oh, okay, sorry. This is my friend. She's got some, like, important stuff going on, so I'm trying to, like, pay attention halfway, you know. So, anyway, he's like, okay, let me know when you get to your client if the van trips. And I'm like, okay. So, I get there, and now, when it would trip previously, like, everything would shut off in the back. Like, I'd press the off on the engine, and I would see like the lights and everything die in the back, so I would know it tripped. So I got to my client's house, none of that happened. So I go get the dog and everything. I texted to Rory, I was like, it didn't trip, and we're like, yay, like, you know, solutions, amazing, you know. And I get the dog in the tub and bathe it, and I go to dry it, and when I turn the dryer on, my lights dimmed, and they kind of like stayed dim, and I made it through about 75% of the blow dry, and the dryer died. And I called Rory, and I was like, my dryer won't come back on. And he's like, okay, like, I think your battery probably tripped. So I went in the back, and sure enough, it had tripped. I had to reset it. And I reset it and come back, and my dryer's still not turning on. And he's like, I'm like, So we're on the phone. We're trying to figure it out. He has me turn my van on to idle it. I do that. Dryer's still not turning on. So then I'm like looking, so in the back you have like all these different screens, you know, and one of them is for an inverter, and the inverter screen was showing it was on, but normally when it's on, there's like a green light on it. And I was like, hey, like, my green light's not on. Like, it says it's on, but the green light's not on. I was like, should I just try like resetting it? And he was like, you can try resetting it, but it's probably not going to do anything. So I reset it, dryer came right back on. I say, it's almost like I know what I'm doing, you know? So, we get that turned back on. But then this is like maybe last week or the week before or something. And we had already, by this point, after this, like, whenever David rewired everything and did all this, we had decided if this did not work, that the van was going to go up to Indiana. The plan was that it was going to be gone while I was in Hershey. So basically what Rory tells me, is that I'm going to have to deal with my van being like this for the next like 2 to 3 weeks. That I'm going to have to idle, and I'm going to be having all these problems and whatever. I was like, no. I was more able to deal with how it was before you guys rewired everything. I was like, so can we just get David to come back out and put it back how it was? Because I can deal with how it was, you know? And he's like, yeah, sure. So they have David come back out, and he puts everything back, and it starts running like how it was before. But then, and somewhere in this journey, I kind of mentioned earlier that I like had a day that I ended up having to cancel like 2 days of clients because my AC like just died. Like I had got to a stop, turned the van off, everything flooded, whatever. And then I came back out and I turned my AC on, and it like sounded crazy. Like it was not normal sounding. Like it you know, you get used to how everything sounds, and I knew something was off, you know. So I just turned it on. I'm cleaning up the water and everything. It was like the worst I'd ever seen it flood. And then it just cut out. Like it would not turn on. There was no lights, nothing. I'm like pressing the button and nothing's happening. So I called David. I'm like, oh my God, my fucking AC is broken, freaking out, you know, whatever. And this is on a Friday. I only know that because I ended up having to cancel Saturday because he doesn't do weekends. And if he does, it's like he charges a bunch extra. So he was going to come out. He'd already planned on coming out Monday anyway. So that happened, right? So fast forward to, like I said, I'm like, tell David to put everything back how it was. He comes out, puts everything back how it was. And then I went out, I want to say it may have been like the next day that I went out, and my AC started like surging. Like it would be like blowing and then like weaken and blowing and weaken and blowing and weaken. And it was like having a really hard time getting cool. And by my second dog, it stopped blowing. Like the lights were still on, but there was no air coming out whatsoever. So I turned the van on, idled it, blew my AC on full blast into the back of the van, texted Rory. I'm like, what the fuck? And I think it was that day that I said to him, I was like, we need to just send the van early. I was like, I cannot keep working like this. Because, like, basically what started happening is, like, I kept having to reschedule people. And then what was annoying was that I would move them because they're like, yeah, like, we can fix this. You know, you'll have David come out, he'll fix this, whatever. I would move them. And then when their next appointment came up, I'd be having more problems. So there was, like, times I had to work with, like, no AC in the back and my van idling and blowing AC in the back and whatever. Because I didn't want to reschedule people multiple times. So, I just said, I was like, you guys have to come get this van. I was like, I cannot work like this. I was like, I can deal, because this was last week, so I really only had like 1 full week until I was going to be like gone on vacation anyway. So I was like, okay, come get the van and fix this shit. I was like, I can deal with just going ahead and rescheduling everybody. I was like, but the day-to-day stress of not knowing if I'm going to even be able to make it to the end of the day, I was like, that is driving me insane. And I was like, and it's making me look terrible to my clients. I was like, so just come get it. So they made arrangements and they came and got it last Wednesday. That was kind of a hassle. Cause I'm a busybody, kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like I'm always out doing something. Like I like to stay busy. I don't like to sit around my house. And they told me that the pickup truck would be here at noon. And I'm like, okay, I said pickup truck, and it sounds like a little Ford or something. Like, no, it's like the big, it's not a flatbed. It's like really the really, really long tow truck. There it is. So, they were like, okay, he's going to be there at noon. So 12:30 rolls around. I'm like, hey, like, he's not here yet. And then they're like, oh, he's going to be there between 5 and 8. So I'm like, great. Well, that's like my whole day then. So then 8 o'clock comes and goes. Around like 8:30, I'm like, I had been wanting to take a nap. Like, I was like, I just know the second I go to take a nap is when they're gonna show up, and they need me there because I gotta give them the keys and everything. So I stay up till like 8:30, and then I'm like, I guess, like, I was like, I'm assuming they're just not gonna come. I'll just figure this out tomorrow. And lay down, close my eyes, start to fall asleep, and here's the tow truck driver calling me, and he's like, I'm gonna be there at 10. So I was like, oh my God. So, I set an alarm because I was like, by this point I'm like groggy, you know, like I'm like, I just slept for 10 minutes and now I'm like, you know, so then he does show up at 10. Y'all, he had a hell of a time getting my van on that the tow truck. Oh my God. I could have died. I was so stressed about like watching him try to get that van on there. Like first he like gets it like halfway up. There's like these 2 little ramp things, you know, that you had to set up. He gets it halfway up, and one of them just, like, dropped, and my van, like, slammed down. I was like, fortunately, before he put it up there, he, like, took account of, like, my entire van. So, like, if there's damage, it'll be known that it was from this tow truck. I was like, he's gonna blow himself up. Like, where he slammed down is, like, right where my propane tank was. I was like... And he spoke no English, which is fine. Like, I don't care about that. But, like, and I don't know if this mattered or not, but he, like, pulls up and he's like, where's your car? I'm like, this is it. It's, like, pulled in the middle of the driveway. I was like, this is the car. And he's like, Ford Transit. I was like, oh, no, it's, like, a Mercedes Sprinter. And he's like, Ford Transit. And I'm like, no, it's a Mercedes Sprinter. And he's like, Ford Transit. I was like, okay. I was like, I really don't know if that matters or not. Hopefully not. But he was not, I don't know. But it was surely down as a Ford Transit because he was like not believing me or something, or he couldn't understand. I don't know. And then, like I said, he goes to get it on. It's pitch black outside and he's trying to get it on to the lift. The thing falls, like he's like getting it up, and I swear the back bumper was like this far from the ground. I was like, oh my God. I was sitting out there watching. I was like, I don't know if this is a better idea to be watching him or if I should just go inside. But it was nerve-wracking. I was like, that thing costs more than my house. So yeah, stressful. Anyway, so like I said, that they picked it up on Wednesday. So I've been off, I think, a week. I want to say it was a week ago that like everything died, because I had it for a few days before they came to get it that I could have worked, but it was just such a nightmare, like having to idle and having the AC blow, because even with the AC on high in the cab, like that's a long ass van, like it was barely reaching by the tub and the table and all that. It was just too hot back there. It was very uncomfortable, and I wasn't enjoying it. Sorry, I can feel the hair on my face. So anyway, now back to my earlier point. When they came and got my van and everything, I had a lot of people asking me, like, did you have to pay to tow it? I was like, hell no, I didn't pay to tow it. I was like, that thing has 4,000 miles. I made, like, 4 payments on that thing. I was like, I'm not fucking paying to tow it. Like, I didn't do anything to it. This is their system messing up. And then I had a girl reach out to me, and she was like, oh, my God, like, how did you convince them to like take your van back and look at it. And I was like, it was their idea. Like, they're the ones, like, when they reached out to do that thing where they rewired everything, he said, he was like, I'm not fully confident if this is going to work or not. So basically, if it doesn't work, I'm going to have a plan B, and that is to come get your van and bring it here so that we can work on it. And basically what she ended up telling me is that she, I guess, has been like begging and pleading, like to the point she was like, we will bring you, her and her husband were going to bring the van to Indiana to get them to work on it. And they basically told her no. I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Like, again, like, I never assume I'm getting special privileges, and maybe I should, but I don't, like, I think I'm amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm like very confident about myself, but at the same time, I don't view myself as any sort of like an influencer or anybody that should be getting any more privileges than anybody else. Like, I love myself. I think I'm amazing. I love being treated special in a lot of scenarios, but not in this one. Not when it's something where I'm like telling you guys, go out and buy this thing. I expect that if you work with a company that you're going to be treated the same way that I am, you know? So, it really bothered me when she told me that they wouldn't do that for her, that they refused to look at it. Now, I don't know all the details. Maybe mine was different. Like, I know she's been having AC troubles. Like, I don't know if she's also been having battery issues. Maybe that's why they chose to do it with mine. I don't know, but that's just what was told to me, is that she wanted her van to be sent there and they wouldn't do it. And I don't know the reasoning, but I do want to bring that up just in case anybody watching this is in the same scenario and they're like, girl, what the fuck? How come you're getting this privilege that I'm not? I don't know. I didn't request it. If you buy a van from Wagon Tails, I don't get anything from it. Okay. And I just want to like put that out there. Okay. But, all in all, I am still happy with my van, which I know probably sounds crazy, but I had so many problems with the Humvee, and it was like, once I realized that basically their system was causing all this damage in the Mercedes, and that they had no, so I'm looking for it. They were not planning on changing anything about their system in order to stop these problems from happening. So that just meant, like, you know, every time I was taking it up there, it would seem like it was like $1,000 plus taking time off work, you know, so it was just causing me a lot of stress. Whereas this, like, I do feel like Wagon Tails is trying to come up with solutions, like, even, you know, despite like them coming to get my van and whatever, I think that they are like actively trying to figure out what the problem is and actually fix it. So, whereas like I said, Humvee is like, our system's perfect, even when mechanics are saying it's not, you know. I think that's the difference there. And they've been very easy to get a hold of. Humvee, like towards the end of, and this is, you know, it's been like what, almost 6 months. When did I get rid of it? In June. Sorry, I ran out of memory. But basically what I was saying is, like, I don't know within the last several months if Humvee has gotten easier to get a hold of. But I know the last couple times I had to call up there, it was harder to get somebody. Whereas, like, Wagon Tails, you call in and you'll get somebody basically right away. Like, I really haven't had to wait. So, all in all, I do think that Wagon Tails has handled this a lot better than Humvee. Am I thrilled that I've been having problems in a brand new van? Not really. But at the same time, it's not like earth-shattering either. I try to see like the positives in everything. So like right now I get to take like genuine time off work, where like, because a lot of times if I have a vacation, I already like have something planned for every single day that I'm off, you know, whereas like literally the last like at least 2 days, I really haven't done anything. Like, I went out and did stuff today, but yesterday I like cleaned my whole house. I decorated for Halloween. I got to relax. I got to catch up on TV shows I've been wanting to watch. I genuinely have been able to relax. Whereas, like, you know, these last really 3 years since I've had the van, I've been in go mode. Like I said, even if I'm like off work, I'm doing something. And I haven't had a genuine moment to stop in years. So it's really helped. I have started writing again. That's like my thing I like to do for fun, is I love writing, whether it's like poetry or just like fantasy or just like daily affirmations, like journaling, anything like that. I love writing. And I've been doing a lot more of that, and I have been doing yoga again, and like just like stuff that I genuinely enjoy that I had really stopped doing since I've been so busy, you know? It's like yoga is a big one that I've been wanting to do, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can commit to that right now because, like, you know, I gotta wake up early and da-da-da-da. So it's like, by giving myself this time to, like, really do that, like, it's helped me in so many different aspects of my life. Because, you know, all the stress that's been going on with the business has kind of poured over into my personal life, without, like, getting too in depth, like, you know, trying to have a relationship when you're, like, stressed out. And, like, also I'm, like, somebody that, like, enjoys my singleness, and I tend to go recluse mode. There was, like, especially, like, towards the end of all the craziness happening in my van, I, like, shut out somebody that I really, like, honestly, had I been in a better headspace, I wouldn't have shut out. Like, they didn't really do anything to me, but I was just like, oh, I can't deal with, like, being an emotional attachment with somebody and then having to deal with all this. Like, I'm too busy. I can't do relationship stuff, and just, like, shut down, you know? So anyway, having this moment to, like, breathe and get back in tune with everything, and, like, you know, like, it's just helped so much. So I'm really not complaining. Like, I'm really only doing this video to, like, kind of catch you guys up on everything. But, like, you know, yes, it sucks. Like, there's been, like, shitty aspects to it, but, like, I also am such a big believer in things happen for you, not to you. And, you know, maybe this all happened because I needed to have this moment of self-reflection. Like, I cannot explain to you, like, how much I feel like I've grown just in this week, you know? So anyway, it's all gonna work out. I really believe that. You know, this thing I heard, I was talking about this on my Instagram story earlier, but I think this is, like, so crucial that, like, I heard this thing that was like, you know, if you're feeling anxiety about something, instead of, like, because, you know, when you're anxious, you start thinking about all the what ifs, and you're usually thinking, like, bad what ifs. Like, perfect example of, like, this person, this is a man that I have grown to like. I was going through, like, when I was in my really anxious mode, I was going through this, like, okay, well, what if we don't end up together? What if he likes other girls? What if, you know, he doesn't like me? What if, you know, he just wants to, like, hook up? And then, you know, you go into all these, like, oh, like, what if, like, he may do this, maybe, like, this, maybe I get on his nerves, I don't know. You start thinking all that, and the shift is, instead of focusing on, like, the bad what ifs, like, you think about, like, well, what if it worked out? Like, what if we ended up together? Like, what if this is guy I marry? Like, what if we end up really happy? Like, what if this is the love of my life? You know what I mean? So, like, shifting into the, like, good what ifs, oh my God. I, like, saw that the other day, and I'm like, my world has changed, bitch, because I'm such a worrier. So anyway, same thing with the van. Like, you can totally do that. Like, I could be like, you know, what if I get my van back and it's still not working? What if I get it back and my clients have gone somewhere else? You know, all these bad what ifs. And it's like, or what if it comes back and is functioning perfectly and they figured out what was going wrong with it? And then I get none of my clients went anywhere else, and that I'm, like, super busy and I make a ton of money, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, so just focus on the good what ifs. I am going to be in Hershey. I will get there Thursday night, most likely, because it's about a 9-hour drive. So, I will be in Hershey. I'm so excited. I'm really, really looking forward to it, because I always feel like when I go to the trade shows, I feel, like, very rejuvenated, and Hershey in particular, it's just so, because so many people are there, just, like, really refreshing. I'm gonna go ride the roller coasters this time. I'm gonna have fun. I'm not just gonna, like, because I used to do this thing, like, when I first started grooming, I was like, I have to absorb all the knowledge, and I would just do classes the whole time, and, like, didn't take a lot of time to, like, enjoy anything else. And this time I'm gonna go and do the other fun stuff in Hershey. Like, I want to go ride the roller coasters. I want to go, like, to the Hershey, what is it, with the museum or something with the chocolate, you know? I want to go do all that stuff. I want to see people and hang out and have a good time, and I'm just so looking forward to it. So yes, I've had stress in my life, and I could definitely dwell on it. And that's another thing I was talking about, that hopefully this is helpful to somebody. But, like, when I hit those modes of, like, spiraling and being like, oh my God, like, bad what ifs and whatever, I will let myself feel that emotion, like, for, like, when it first comes, like, because there's, like, toxic positivity of just being like, I'm fine. And, like, sometimes you gotta feel those negative emotions too. So I will let myself feel it, like, as it's happening, and then I move on from it. I don't dwell in it. I don't stay in that energy. And I feel like that helps me a lot. And like I said, focusing on good what ifs, all of that. Because I get people a lot that are just like, I don't know how you handle this stuff so well. That's how I do it. I just don't dwell in negative emotions, and I try to focus on the good what ifs. And it's helped me a lot. So I hope it helps you guys too. So anyway, yes, this is crazy. Again, I would still pick Wagon Tails over Hamby. And I will say, I think in hindsight, like knowing what a new system this is and all of that, I probably would have just gotten a generator van. I was really trying to avoid the generator, but I think had I gone with the generator van, I wouldn't be having all these problems, you know, because their generator vans have been around so long. I just think they're a little bit more foolproof and perfected. So, because I don't hear as many problems with the generator vans as I do the clean power. So, I do think it's something that they're going to work on and that they'll get figured out, because like otherwise they're just going to be like losing money, you know, sending, because even like the girl that said that they wouldn't take her van back or whatever, I think they've sent her like 2 or 3 air conditioners. Like I don't know how much those cost, but anyway, even if they're like $100, if you're just sending like each person that has a broken AC $100 AC, you know what I mean? Like eventually that's going to make them lose money. So I think they are trying to get this figured out. I have faith in them. I've been happy with them despite everything. And I know that's probably like crazy to say, because I've had a lot of people that have been like, screw them. Like they should, I've heard this several times, they should just give you a new van. I'm like, I'm not expecting a new van. If they did, I would feel guilty about it. Like that would make me feel bad, because I know there's other people that have had just as many problems, and I know that they wouldn't get new vans. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it's going to get fixed. I feel very strongly that they're going to make sure it gets fixed. Oh my God. Hold on. I wasn't ready. Okay. Anyway, it's about time for me to go. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, moral of the story is like, I'm happy with Wagon Tails. I think my van's gonna be fixed. I could blab on this. Oh my God. Anyway, it's been fine. It's fine, you guys. It's gonna be okay. I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. And it's fine. I need like, I don't know how to turn it off, like your texts so that they don't pop up. Oh my God. Anyway, so I hope this is helpful to you guys. And I would say too, like I said, I would go with a generator van if you're gonna get a Wagon Tails, at least until they get this clean power thing figured out. Or if you can make your own van, like I think that's an awesome option as well. I'm personally not quite that handy. I wish I was. But that's just not in the cards for me to make my own van, unless I like meet some fucking husband that can build vans for me, you know? But anyway, life happens, you guys. It's all good. It's all gonna be okay. I have faith in it. So anyway, hope this video helps you guys some way or another, at least gives you some clarity on where the hell I've been all this time. But anyway, I'm gonna go. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.